Hello, we're in August right now, and I want to talk to you about creating your college list. Now, if you have not started creating your college list and you're going to be a senior this year, or your child is going to be a senior of high school this year, you are behind. You're almost in what I call my straggler mode. That means you're behind. Now, up until this point, you should have had your SAT and ACT done, or at least be studying for those to take here at the end of August. And you should have gone on your college tours, or at least most of your college tours at this point, if you are in August. If you're not at that point, you're behind, so it's time to play catch up, but that's okay because I'm going to give you some suggestions. Now, this video is part of a 4-part series because there's a lot of stuff that goes into creating a college list. It is actually not as simple as most people think, and they miss stuff, and you don't want to make those mistakes down the road and have to transfer or whatever. So let's just get it right the first time, right? So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about two of my top 2 things to kind of think about. They're not necessarily top 2 in this order. It's just the top 2 I'm going to talk about in this video. But number 1 is location, and number 2 is the size of the school. So location, very important when you're creating a list. For some students, it's not going to be as important. For some students, it's going to be extremely important. It's probably going to be one of the top things to think about. Now, understand that when you create your list, you're going to have to make compromises. It is very rare that a student has, 10 out of the 10 things that they want when they choose a college. If you hit 7 out of 10 of those things that you want, that's a good choice school for you. So that's the first thing. So location, what are you looking for? It could be that you have an activity that you really enjoy. You could even compete in this sport or activity. And you need to be in a certain location. For example, you like to snowboard or ski, you're going to want to be near a big mountain. If you really like to surf, you're going to want to be in Southern California or Hawaii. So it could be a geographical thing. Maybe you're just really outdoorsy and you want to be able to hike. But if those kinds of things are important to you, you're going to want to think about that. Obviously, like weather. If you are not a cold-weathered person, you're not going to be applying to Wisconsin. And it's funny because it seems like that would be really common sense, but I can't tell you how many students, like I had a student once who she swears she wanted to be in California. I worked with this girl for over 1.5 years. That girl likes to be in a blanket and Uggs all the time. She likes to be like, snuggly and warm and stuff. And I'm like, really, in California? I don't really know if that should be on your list. Sure enough, she's in Colorado now. So think about location with that. Also think about like a city center, or if you want to be in a suburb, or if you want to be kind of in a college town, that kind of feel that you have for it. Some people are city people, especially if you have a major you're going into where it requires you to have an internship that would benefit you. So obviously if you're going into like tech or the computer sciences, you might want to be in Silicon Valley or Seattle, where I'm at. There's plenty of opportunities for different technical people. Especially for performing arts people, if you're in theater or going to be in music, you're going to want to be somewhere where you can get some sort of internship opportunity or performance opportunities. So New York, Chicago, Las Vegas, obviously Southern California, any of those kind of places where, they have a strong art atmosphere, that's going to be really good for you. The second thing to think about is the size. So this is really hard for students because the only thing you have to put into perspective of size is your high school, right? In college, it's a very different vibe from high school. So think of size. So generally a small university is like, generally you'll see them like in the 5,000, 3 to 6,000 range. Sometimes they get a little higher than that, but most small universities are like 3 to 6,000 student range. A mid-sized school is like 10, 15,000 students. And then a large school would be like at least 25,000, sometimes, 30, 40,000 students. So those are large state universities. Now, a lot of students think, and I'll give you a great example, right? We're in Seattle. I am really close to the University of Washington. It's about 35,000 students. And I have a lot of students who are like, oh, I just want to go to UW. Go sit in on a classroom Okay, I want you to go to English 101 or Psych 101, one of those entry-level classes. Go sit in on a class, and if you can follow it, great, you can apply to that school. A lot of people go and they're like, oh my God, there's like 800, seriously 800 people, 600 people in this class, and I can't even pay attention because there's so much going on. So that's the thing to think about size. Remember, it's also class size. And don't believe those statistics on the website that say our student to teacher ratio is like 1 to 15. If it's a large university, that's crap, okay? It's not happening. Private schools, yes. Big schools, no. That's not gonna happen. They're kind of, I'm not really sure where they get those numbers sometimes, but let me tell you, that's not true. So that's one thing to think about size. Another thing to think about size is also like the access, right? So larger universities might have more opportunities to work on campus. They probably have more books in the library, which means you're gonna have opportunity to do more research. They might have more funding, and so you might be able to work with a certain professor or something at that school. Larger schools, obviously it's the whole culture of it, right? It has a great vibe. It might have a lot of energy. Smaller schools you have to think of too, it might be more isolating to be at a larger school, which is why people join sororities and fraternities. But a lot of people want that smaller vibe feel. They want to know their professor. They want to meet friends in the dorm. You're probably talking a private school. And you can always go mid-size to something where it's right in the middle. So I always recommend go on those college tours, walk around universities of different sizes. Even if it's not a university that you would want to go to, it doesn't matter. You're just trying to get an idea for the size of school that you would want to go to. So those are kind of my tips. Those are the top 2 things. Please watch the next video. We're going to be talking about 2 more things you need to be looking at in creating your college list.